Right, you bastards. Today I want to talk about an EDC bag. Not the things you wear on your personal body, but in a bag you can take anywhere you go. It can contain more stuff than you can use on your body. It's like when you go to work, when you go travel a little bit perhaps, or just when you go out for a stroll. You never know what can happen, especially when you're further away from home. I would advise to take an EDC bag. First, this is the bag I use. Just a shoulder bag. What I like about a shoulder bag is you can just turn it around your body and you can grab whatever you need. It's very quick, especially when there's some wounded around. You can take anything out of it in a few seconds. I always put a little mark of a red cross on my EDC bag. Yes. Why? Because I just want to help people. One time I was walking around on a parking lot. Some guy came up to me, he saw my bag and he asked if I could help him. He had cut open his hand by a sword or something. It was very vague what he said, but he recognized me, asked for help. I could help him and patch him up, and he could go to the hospital with his open hand. I also put my blood type on it, because you never know when you have a car accident or anything else. It might help you when you're in the hospital for a quick blood transfusion. You never know. Alright, let's open this bad boy up. Water. I always carry water with me. You can do it in a plastic bottle if you like, but I prefer a metal bottle. It's maybe heavier, but you can use it to boil water. In a case when you need new water, or when you're further away from home, or to filter it, I don't know, but I prefer it to be multifunctional. Second, a shemak. This I always would put in any EDC bag. You can do hundreds of things with this. Filter water, collect thaw or rainwater to drink directly. You can put it on as a mask for disguise or as against dust, sand, smoke. You can use it as an improvised shoe, hand warmer. When it's cold, you can put it around your neck. You can put it around your head like a shemak, like the military use, or in those Middle Eastern countries, how they use it. I would never leave without this. You can also perhaps use cut some bits off for rope when you're in a need, but perhaps the next thing I always put in it is some little survival tool, actually. This thing has so many little things. It has a little solar panel for some light, temperature, moist to see when it's going to rain, some glasses to make some fire, to a little bell thingy to see if something is straight. I don't know how that's going to work in a survival situation, but yeah, that's on it. A little mirror to, in the first place, to make an SOS signal. Perhaps you can also use it to remove or treat wounds that are on your back, on places you cannot directly see. It's very useful on that way. There's a little compass to find your way back home, if you know where you are at least. There is a little spark steel to make a fire, some little pin, and that's about it. That's in this thing. I will open it from back to forth. It's not necessarily, but I always keep some eye wash in it, because especially when I go to work, I always take this thing with me. You never know when there are chemicals in your eye, perhaps in a chemical warfare situation, a terrorist attack or something, or there is something stuck in your eye after a car accident or something. You can wash your eyes with it to some chemicals or particles that are stuck in your eye. Always handy. Or to help someone else who has the same problem. Always some strips. You never know when you need to tie something together, like when your car breaks down or some little line get loose. You can put it around, little makeshift repair. Some zip ties to use as handcuffs. When you overmaster some aggressor, you can bind his hand together with this or his feet. Hopefully you never would to use it like way, but it's always possible. Many uses, just to be sure. This is a little first aid kit with the usual things like bandages, some duct tape, bandages, some alcohol, a little tampon, because you never know when your girlfriend has her time of the month, or when you have a deep puncturing wound or a shot wound, you can put a tampon in it to stop the bleeding. There are also some pills for when somebody has an headache, some gloves when you have to treat a wound but you don't want to get infected by somebody else. You may have a cut on your finger and the person has some viral disease. You don't want to get that in your blood. The next thing is iodium tablets. In case of a nuclear attack, you can take it in when you're nearby a nuclear plant that is... You never know. People say that it's not necessary, but that's what people thought at Chernobyl. Another little thing here is some caffeine pills, because sometimes at work I had a problem, like I had to work longer hours because somebody got sick or something. I had to take the next shift, and this helped a few times to cope with it. Never use it a long time after each other, because it's not healthy. It's just a quick solution. Some honey for when your energy is low or somebody is diabetic and he needs some sugar. Some pure honey. It's also antibacterial, so you can put it on wounds when you don't have disinfected. Something against sore muscles. Some purification tablets. So that's my first aid kit. I always keep it in a waterproof hard case, because I don't want to break anything of this, especially not the fluids that are inside of it. This little thing is not really necessary, but it has been useful a few times. It's just a little magnet with a little light on the front, to when your keys dropped in the sewers or something, you cannot reach it. Your keys or something else has rolled underneath a closet or something. It's been useful a few times, but not really necessary. The next thing is a very tiny stove. I like to put some burning blocks inside of this thing. You can use a metal mug that I will also keep in this. When I want to boil water, make some soup, cook something, or just for some nice cup of tea when I'm out somewhere. Sometimes it's very nice when you can just have something hot to drink. And it's very handy in a survival situation. Always use a metal mug. Because no plastic, it's maybe lighter, but you can use it to boil some drinkable water with it. You never know. Next thing, some paper towels. Why? Because sometimes I have a running nose. Sometimes it's just to put it on a bleeding or something. Or when there's not a toilet around and you got to do number 2. Very handy when you have something to wipe that clean. A little tourniquet, a real one. This is a TUC tourniquet. I always keep it around in case there's a serious accident or somebody seriously wounded. I always want to be prepared to help others. That's why I also put the Red Cross on it. You never know, always handy. Another bastard. Some Israeli bandages. You know what it is? It's something between a tourniquet, some bandages for serious wounds. It's actually something I would prefer this to the tourniquet, but I also has it for when there are multiple casualties. I want to help, like a car accident. There are usually more people in a car. Next thing, some emergency rations. I always keep this in my bag because it has 2,300 calories. It's only half of a kilogram, and it's kind of tasty actually when you're hungry. Wouldn't recommend it for 4 days like I once did, but it helped me through 4 days of walking through the forest once, so it's very effective, to be honest. Last main thing around this is a little kit with some triggers I don't want to get wet. We got a few things like batteries, 2 types of batteries, because you never know when your comms of your walkie-talkies or something else has gone down. Some spark starter, some hot chocolate powder, because it goes with a mug, like when you want to make some tea and the other person is like, I want some chocolate. There you go, you can make it. Some earplugs, because in a stressful situation sometimes there's a lot of noise and you need to rest, because you never know. Or in a situation where there's a lot of chaos, like sirens, explosions, or people screaming, you can use the earplugs to keep concentrated or to protect your hearing, because chaos brings loud noise with it. Some bunker candle. It's very handy because one candle can burn like 10-12 hours by my last test, I think. And also useful in a romantic situation when you're with that special one. This is a birthday candle. It can spark a meter far away, handy for as an SOS signal from far away, even in night and day. I always keep it in it. Some cowboy matches, like they are called. These are matches you can strike on any rough surface. So there are like 100 in this pack. They break easily. That is a problem, but you can strike it on anywhere when you lose the little strip on other packages. The next thing I always keep in is some alcohol. Why? Because sometimes I like a drink, sometimes I have to celebrate something. Has been a few times handy. Something special, something to keep up the spirits. And in the most bad situation, you can use this for when somebody has some withdrawals to alcohol. To stop him from doing stupid things, to let him kick some off. But you can also make a fire with it, some accelerants perhaps, but it's kind of waste of the alcohol. If you want to know what's inside of it, it's gin, very hard gin, which I sometimes like, but can be handy for multiple things. Oh, and also for disinfectant. If you have drinks that have a lot of alcohol in it, when you have a deep cut, you can pour it on the wound. It's gonna hurt like hell, but sometimes it's necessary. This little thing is kind of makeshift pepper spray actually. It's been made with Tabasco sauce, some pepper, piments, and some alcohol gel, and a little bit water to make it a little bit runny. It's so that pepper spray is illegal in my country, so what I like to do is like put it in a hand gel pocket bottle, because when the police search my bag, they think, oh, it's hand gel, no problem. But when somebody attacks you, you can open it, you can squeeze it, and from 3 meters away, you can spray it in his eyes. It won't be bothering you anymore, and there's no blood involved, which is good for both parties, and you can run away. Nobody really harmed. Alright, the next thing is here in the little pockets. Some chem lights. When the electricity is going out in the building, you can use it to mark the exits for persons who try to reach it when there's too much smoke, when it's dark, when it's in the night. You can also use it as an SOS signal. You can wave with it. You can put it on a wire, swing it around so it's more visible from a more distance away. I always keep a red and a green for people who are a little bit colorblind. A pen, and some potlood, how do you say it? A pencil. You can use it for self-defense, writing, to make a makeshift tourniquet when you have an handkerchief. You can use the pencil to make some wood, to make start a little fire actually, or to write messages. When somebody's looking for you, you can leave a message on a wall or a piece of paper and leave it on a place where they would look like a church or like government buildings or something, so people would know where you go, when your party knows where you are going. Very handy. Or when you have to sign documents, always handy. There's always somebody who says, who has a pen? This bastard right here. A little water filter. This is like from Care Plus. It's very little, but it does the job. When you need to purify water for a lot of persons, in this case it's not, you have to suck it up, so it's really for one person, but I can put it on the bottle and I can drink from it straight away when I don't have clean water. So that's very handy when it's very dry over a hot day. A flashlight. Just a regular flashlight, this one is a military type model, but it has some kick. That's why I always keep the batteries in the other case. It's a very bright light. You can use it for a SOS signal to blind an attacker. You can do wide, you can do far and small. Always handy, especially when the lights go out, or when it's dark and you can't find your way out of the building or anywhere else. Right. Next, some burn cream for when somebody has a burning wound or something. Also for antibacterial for the regular wounds, but it has been a few times useful when somebody had some burns, touch something hot, especially children are dangerous for this kind of stuff, so always handy to keep one of these in your EDC bag. A little pocket. This one contains a lot of small stuff. A little kit to sew when you have problems, when you ripped your coat open or have a hole in your pants or something. It's a quick fix you can do. It's there is no embarrassment when you have to walk around with a big hole in your pants. Here are the little needles. The next thing is a little USB stick with some personal information or something I use up at work. Always handy to keep a copy of it, because you never know when your house burns up. You still have your most important documents, photographs with you, even when you have to evacuate in a hurry. There's a little bits you can put on the tool. The tool is in the back, around here. It's kind of all the way in the back. Come on, you little bastard. This is a Silco key. I always keep it in here because you never know when you have to tap some water. You can put the little bits on it. Very handy for little tools or repairs. But this thing, you has special holes around all sides to open little closets, like for electricians or water or some water pipes you can open to tap some water off. Very handy in a urban situation. That's why there's also this. You can put it on as some squares that fit in a lot of locks. So very handy. Some super glue, because it's not to glue something together, because that never works, like anybody can tell you. It's more for closing down wounds in humid situations. So you can also keep some little duct tape in here, always handy. Duct tape, the more the better, but if you have some, it's very handy. Some little pins to close up tourniquets or keep close together when they are shredded or there's a hole in it, in case you cannot sew. Always keeping it. And a few striker matches. I always keep in it in case my regular box gets wet. So, and a picklot set. Has been a few times handy at work for when some guys lost their keys. They locked their keys up in their locker, so I had to open it so they don't have to break the locket. Or when you're locked inside of a building or something and you need to get out, there are no windows. Very handy. And I think that's about it, if I'm not forgetting something. Oh, just a little lighter when somebody needs a smoke, or when you have to make fire. I always put some duct tape around it, because it saves some place. I must admit, usually it's too broken after so many times, because I need the fire more than the duct tape. One more last thing. First of all, a map. Because you never know when your cell phone is down, you don't know where you are, you need to find your way back home or somewhere else. This map is a regular road map. You can find your ways across the country. It's not really for streets, but at least you know what direction you're going. And as last, a little poncho, because sometimes it rains. Yes. And you can also use it to when you need to drag water with you, like a makeshift water bottle. Very handy. And I think that's about it. Just a few things like a carabiner. Oh, just one more thing forgotten. With the shamak, I always keep this. I usually the most thing I use this for is as a handbag when I go to the grocery market. That way I can put something in it, bind the top, and carry it like a carrying bag. So that's another thing you can do with an everyday bag. So that's about it. There's nothing more to say about this, so this is the end of the video. So, goodbye, bastards. See you next time.